Hi everybody and welcome. So, before becoming a developer, I was a French teacher. I had the opportunity to work with newcomers who do not speak French, and I quickly saw one thing: when words are not enough, pictures and diagrams are very, very important. When I became a mobile developer, I saw that this problem is bigger than learning languages. An app can be useless for many users if it is badly designed. So I also have an ADHD, and it made me more aware of how important it is to have apps that are simple to use.
Hi, my name is Fanny, and I started to work on accessibility 5 years ago. I was working on a project where the user were people with Alzheimer and their helpers. And now I work on an application that is mostly used by blind and low vision users. And those two experiences made me realize when you think of a product or a project or something, a design, through the bridge of accessibility, you actually end up with better design. Like here you see this door lock. If they have thought before about accessibility, they might have think like, oh, someone with difficulties to use their hands or no hands will not be able to like open this door, and they would have designed a better door lock. So our mutual interest with Mary was accessibility, and we decided to work together specifically on cognitive accessibility. And when we talk about accessibility, most of the time we think about visual impairment or motor impairment, but we most of the time forget that there is also cognitive issue. And what about this cognitive issue, and what are the impact in digital application? And actually what we realize is that there are lots of people carrying disability. Here in the UK, almost one quarter of the population has a disability. And if we zoom to mental health impairment, we see that in the past 10 years, the percentage of mental health impairment grows from 16% to 34% of the population, of the disabilities, sorry. If we zoom again and look at different age group, we actually see that mental health is the most common impairment for children. For working age adults, it's mental health too with 47%, followed by mobility, 41%. Here you can see that most of the time disability, we don't care, people don't always care only one disability. That explain here the importance of these two numbers. And it's only for older adults that mobility actually become the first common impairment with 69% of disabilities. But here I'm talking about mental health and cognitive and words like that. What do they mean, and what is exactly the issue? You might have heard about mental illness, intellectual disabilities, or cognitive disabilities, and Mary will help us like understand the difference with these words.
Yes. So, the first one is mental illness. It refers to specifically to diagnose conditions that affect mood, thinking, or behavior. The ability to think and focus can change over time. This is important to understand that their intelligence is not lower than others. It just depends on how they feel at the moment. For example, you have depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, burnout. We talk about illness because it can be cured by medication or therapy. Yeah. Yeah. After that, we have intellectual disabilities. They are lifelong conditions that affect a person's intellectual functioning and their ability to adapt to everyday life. People with intellectual disabilities usually have below average ability, which can make learning new things and managing daily tasks more difficult. For example, you have Down syndrome. And finally, you have cognitive disabilities. that involve specific difficulties that affect specific cognitive functions like memory, attention, or processing speed. It does not impact intelligence. People with cognitive disabilities may find it harder to stay organized, concentrate, or remember information. For example, that include ADHD, dyslexia, and Alzheimer. Now let's see what do we call cognitive function and what functions are impacted by disabilities. So we have memory, language, thinking skills, learning skills, intelligence, problem solving, decision making, perception, and attention. So a lot of cognitive functions are impacted by all these disabilities.
So commonly we talk about cognitive disability to just summarize like mental illness and the three type of disability that Mary talked to you about, because they all affect cognitive function, as she shared with you. And to summarize, as a developer, what issue may face this user is how to understand your app, how to maintain focus, and how to make a decision. And the good news is that today we are going to share with you some best practices, show you good example, bad examples, so maybe tomorrow you can improve that for these users. So we set up 6 key principles that Mary will start to explain to you.
Yeah. So thanks. So, first principle is clear organization. This principle says that we have to have a clear and logical information hierarchy with enough spacing between groups of information. So let's see an example of a bad practice regarding this principle. Here we have a shopping app, and I want to buy this bed. For the moment, the screen is looks clear, spacing are good, and I have nothing to say. So now I click to add to basket. Once I have clicked, I have this bottom sheet appearing. When I discover the screen, my eye scans the information from the top to the bottom to look for a confirmation of my action. So the first information visible is "we think you love," followed by a list of products. And after, on the top of that list, there is a snack bar with added to basket that appeared. Here, the problem is that after clicking on add to basket, what I want is to know if my product has actually been added to it. But this information is the last one on the screen, and it is mixed with the other information I didn't request. A good example here would be to have the added to basket information at the top of the bottom sheet, as here in Amazon. Best thing would also have been to not suggest other products, as it can be a distraction to the user, but we understand that you might struggle to convince your marketing team to remove that.
Second principle is enough time. So basically that means let your user enough time to read and use your content. Again, back to the same example here. The snack bar at the bottom added to basket will disappear after a few seconds. So the user don't have enough time to process what is on the screen. So again, same good practice here would have been like the Amazon app, having a static text at the top of the screen.
Next principle is understandable. It means that content should be easy for everyone to read and understand. To achieve this, use short sentences to make ideas clear, use simple words instead of complex or technical language, make the text easy to read so users can quickly understand the information without confusion. Let's look at bad practice we found in a French application for kids to listen podcasts. When trying to access the parent zone, the app displays a screen asking you to type the number based on its written form. For some people, this is difficult and frustrating, especially if they make a mistake. It's even harder in French because the numbers like 97 are pronounced and written as if, well, say in English, 4, 20, 10, 7. So when reading it, you will naturally want to type 4, 20, 10, 7. Remember the context, we are just trying to access a parental zone, no right to check or solve a math problem to train our brains. This task unnecessarily adds cognitive load and can create negative feelings to the user when they fail. Now, let's look at a good example of understandable content. We think the Trainline app does a good job with language and contrast. The titles, where, when, and passenger are short and clear, making it easy for users to understand what information is needed. The date is set to today, instead of showing the full date, and the time is set to now, which helps users quickly place themselves in the current context. One possible improvement is that the screen contains a lot of information. Where, when, and passenger could be separated into different screens with a clear visual indication of the current step and the number of steps remaining. This would make the process even easier to follow.
Next principle is called predictable. So it means that the user interface should behave in a consistent and predictable way. So no surprises for the user, consistency across screens, and logical reaction to the user action. Let's see a bad example here. Again, I'm really interested by the same bed. It really looks nice. So I'm not ready to buy it because you look at the price. Like, I need to think twice. So I want to add it to my wish list. So I press the fav button on the top, and this bottom sheet appears, asking me to pick a size for the bed. Remember, I just want to add it to my wish list. So what is it about? So, like, okay, let's pick double bed. And then I end up on this screen asking me to sign in or create an account. Nothing is like confirming me that I'm going to add the product to my wish list. It's okay because I don't have any disabilities, so I can manage remembering that I was doing the wish list action, but someone who has memory issue might just struggle like, what was I doing and what do I have to do this now? So what could we do? First thing, maybe not ask the size of the bed because like I just want a quick shortcut to the product page. Then we understand that, again, marketing may want to have the user login, to have their emails, blah, blah, blah. So a good thing here could just, in this screen, say, oh, we'd love to say this bed to your favorite, but you need to log in first. Then, like by remembering the user, the context, it helps the users to just make sure they are still doing this action.
Then, next principle is adaptability. So it means that content and interface should adjust to different device and context. While a website may be able to show more information with enough spacing to avoid overwhelming users, a mobile device requires a clear and logical presentation. The goal is to convey the same information without confusing the user, ensuring they can navigate and understand the content easily, no matter the device. In this bad example, we definitely see that Temu's app wants to put all the content on the same screen. For example, the information regarding free shipping, why choose Temu, the question mark on each product, the Temu and Colissimo partnership, and the incredible free shipping label in the bottom bar. It's overwhelming and this information should be displayed in different screens and there is not enough space. On the opposite, in this grocery shopping app, we see that content is clear, not overwhelming with too much information, and extra information are hidden in the question mark button and the notification button where we could add, for example, something like, hey, free delivery today. And the last one?
The last principle is to provide multiple ways to understand something. So a good practice is not to only use icon, but use icon with text. That doesn't mean like icon are bad. Icon are really good, but sometimes like if your icon is not widely known, play icon is okay. Everyone recognizes a play icon, but sometimes icons are more difficult to recognize. So in this situation, it's good to have a text with the icon. Let's look at a bad example here. You may recognize the Duolingo application and the bottom menu here, like lots of icons. I never seen like so many icons in the bottom menu, but well. And personally, I don't understand the meaning of each of these icons. And the concept of the app relies on the user memorizing what they mean. And again, memory, you remember, it's a cognitive function, and it's not good to rely on that. A good practice is in the BBC iPlayer application. You see there are some icons, and again here a bottom menu. We usually see bottom menu with text and icon, but here the button, we have an icon and a text which help understand the meaning of the action behind. So now that we have covered the generic principle, let's go into details with really good practice that you can apply in your app.
Okay, to show you to apply these best practices, we have created a sample login form. Let's start with the best practice to reduce cognitive overload. Reducing cognitive overload means reducing the amount of time and energy it takes to your users to understand and interact with your app. We can do is split complex tasks into step-by-step actions. Here we have split the form in 5 steps, showing explicitly to the user the number of steps, the current step number, using icon and text to specify the purpose of the current step. Yeah. No time pressure. For example, here we are not requesting the users to validate their phone number within 30 seconds. And progress saved locally. Not only should make sure that if the app moves to the background when the user returns, the form state is saved, but you should explicitly provide a feature in your form to help the user save and finish filling this form later. So we talked before about building a clear content hierarchy. We can do that by using title and subtitle. Here in title, your personal details is larger and in bold. Having a logical order, everything makes sense here, title on the top, then form, and finally validation buttons at the bottom. Grouping connected items together. It is as simply as having the label next to its text field. And finally, using spacing.
Next best practice is about simplicity and readability. So concretely, what does it mean is using short sentences and clear language, having sufficient contrast, like applying the WCAG recommendation about the contrast, and using readable fonts. I'm not going into details here. You see the screen is easy, the text are easy, but I will give you more actionable advice later in the tooling part.
Okay. Maybe you can precise why we don't have rules for password.
Yeah, so here we made like a simple text field for the password with no specific rule. If your app is not a banking app and you don't ask the security guy, just stay at me saying that, like, don't add the rules on password. It's overwhelming. It's sometimes hard to understand. The best practice will also be to actually propose like Google signing or Apple signing, things like that, which is the best because you don't have to memorize a password. Again, memory. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, here there is only one text field for the password. There is not another text field to just confirm again, write again your password. I mean, today, like resetting a password is really easy. You click on a button, you receive your email. So like don't add cognitive charge just for that.
And you can sign in with Google to say...
yeah, I said.
Okay, my bad.
You don't listen.
No. So next best practices is about cable management. Make it text compatible with the device autocomplete feature by adding the content type information and the modifier semantics. And, of course, use the appropriate keyboard depending on the content type. If it's a phone number, display a number keyboard.
Next, make sure that your app is predictable and consistent. So having similar screen structure across pages, like the button looks the same. Here we are at the 4th steps. The screen always looks the same. The text field looks the same. Another practice will be like when you have a dialogue model view, the cancel button is always on the same size, same color. Like having a consistent design helps a lot. Using universal recognized icons. So here we use the pin icon. It's a good practice. The save icon. Again, if you have a player, use play button. But as soon as you realize that your icon is just not internationally known, please, you have to add text. Of a really common collection of icons. I mean, if you use like the icon pack from Compose or something like that, it's actually already a good practice, even if some of them are not really explicit. And last, no sudden interface changes. I see often in apps, you're like starting the app and you have a cookie banner just coming out of nowhere. Please try to have this banner like opening when, I don't know, when it makes sense, or following a user action is better.
Last one is about writing mindfully label. Use consistent and easy to understand label. Here up, we have 2 ways to get a location to go. One text field that will be filled with the user current location. One text field that has to be filled manually by the user. In this situation, we to avoid confusion, we set an explicit placeholder with a full sentence with use my current location or entire location, not only current location or location. This makes things clear. And when a text field is filled, the label should remain visible on the screen. This keeps the context visible to the screen is still understandable. If users are distracted, doing something else, or coming back on the screen, they still understand the UI. Okay, sorry. No? Oui. Yeah. Sorry.
So let's finish this talk by sharing with you some additional tools and tips. First tool is called Information for All. It's an European document that shares guidelines regarding language. It's available in different languages with, for each language, the language specificity. So I've picked some of these 50 guidelines for English to share some with you. So one guideline shared with this document is called positive language. So, for example, it's easier for user to understand complete your profile to proceed rather than do not leave your profile incomplete. This first form is easier to understand. Next, in this document, they will say to use clear and easy to read font with simple and distinct letter shapes, consistent spacing, and no decorative strokes. So basically, you've sans serif fonts. So here are a few examples. So the good one, you see Atkinson Hyperlegible has been created by the Braille Institute. So it's designed for people with low vision. So it's already like making sure that there are enough spacing, the letters are different. But actually the best one for cognitive issue would be probably Open Dyslexic, because the shape of the letter are really different, and it's easier for people with dyslexia to understand. A few more guidelines. Use lowercase, for example, submit form in lowercase rather than in capital letters. In English, it's better to write words in full. For example, does not instead of doesn't. Again, easier for some users to understand. And use write numbers as digits, like 3 new messages with 3 as a number. And avoid italic again. For some users, it's hard to read.
So, regarding user testing and emulators, unfortunately, there is nothing on the market that can be really representative. The best thing for you to do is to test with real users, and there is no secret. This practice is key to test your UX in general, and in particular when dealing with accessibility. You should make sure to build accessibility skill across your team. Reading official documentation, watching an online video, setting up few common guidelines is a good start. Training your team with accessibility experts, if you can afford, it's a game changer. You should integrate accessibility in your agile process. Accessibility is not only the dev to-do list. As you have seen in this talk, lots of good practice has to be applied in the UI and UX phase of a product development. You should add accessibility checks to your definition of done as designer, as a developer, or as a QA. And a good practice in big teams is to have an accessibility master with similar duties that Scrum Master, but focusing on accessibility. And if the team is formed to accessibility, everyone can take this role at every moment. Again, collaborate with accessibility experts will make you again a lot of time to take some complex issues. Sorry.
We had to talk about the WCAG when talking about accessibility. So WCAG, if you don't know about it, it's the standard for accessibility. Here, the W stands for web, and it can be confusing for us as mobile developer, but actually, like most of the general principles, not like really the check box you have to when you have an audit. These are most of the time really specific to web, but the general rules are really like designed for all digital product. And specifically, this page really go deeper into what is cognitive disabilities, and all the rules we've shared with you, they comes from this document. So you can use it also like to have to convince people in your company to make a change. Okay, so we have shared with you a lot of information. So let's recap those guidelines, and you will be able to take a picture, I think, of this slide at the end. That's the most important for you.
Okay, so the first one is clear organization with logical order, group connected items together, spacing, titles and subtitles, and persistent input labels. Then, enough time, no time pressure, progress saved locally. After that, understandable, so short sentences and clear language, easy to understand placeholders, sufficient contrast, readable fonts, and explicit button text. Not OK or submit. After that, predictable, autocomplete fields, no sudden interface changes. Adaptability, so complex task to step-by-step actions, and appropriate keyboard type. And finally, multiple ways to understand, so universally recognized icons and icon with label.
Okay. You have time.
Yeah.
You have 10 minutes. We can leave this slide for 10 minutes and
I'll wait for a moment.
We can put that back if you want at the end. So thank you all for your attention, actually. And we hope that all these examples gave you some material to challenge your designer at work, and that you actually realize that through the bridge of accessibility, we actually made better user experience for everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. So again, my name is Fanny, and it's Mary. You can add us on LinkedIn. You can come to talk with us today, tomorrow. It's not weird. You just pop and say, oh, hello, how are you? And it's not weird. Just please come to talk to us. And you can, of course, ask questions now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any question?
project? Do you help many projects? Are you available to help other projects? Tell me, what do you do?
Yeah, so I'm a freelancer, and basically I have 3 projects. I'm a developer. I'm mostly a developer. One of the projects I told to you about before is a project used by people who are blind and with low vision, giving me lots of insight of what they need. And I do consultancy on the side, so training or just one-to-one consultancy, or like 2 hours time with a team helping to find a solution to a problem. Yeah, and Mary, she's
An apprentice.
yeah, she's an apprentice.
So I work on the app of my team to make it more accessible. Yeah, because for the moment isn't at all. You have a question?
In terms of making your layouts similar sort of across the app, is it possible that you might have 2 pages that are too similar and a user might lose context about which one they're on? I'm struggling to think of an example, but I'm sure I've come across this before, where I've gone onto a page and forgotten which 2 similar pages I'm on.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think, as it's always the case with user experience and specifically accessibility, we can't give you an answer, like a clear answer. The best thing is users testing. I'm sorry, there is no magic. And I understand what you say. It depends also on how long is the process. If maybe maybe it's an issue. The slide we show with the form, the 5 steps form, and yeah, again, all steps look similar. There is only the thing on the top that's changed. Maybe for some user it can be an issue, and only users testing will help us to find out that. If it's just a small process, I guess this will not be an issue, because if you spend like 15 seconds or 30 seconds on the screen, that's okay, but it's a really long process. You might struggle like, oh, I'm still on this. It looks similar, but is it the same or not?
So on the other hand, yeah.
What is the no time pressure? You want me to re-explain the no time pressure? Okay, so this is part of the WCAG. Actually, this rule is part of the WCAG. Imagine you have a cognitive disability, and to understand a screen takes you longer. And if you have something on your screen that disappears after a few seconds, you don't have enough time to process this information because it's gone. So no time pressure means you're able, nothing is disappearing. Or, for example, a common problem would be like having a video that you start and you can't stop it, or you can't just go backward, and maybe you were focusing on something else on the screen, so you missed it, or again, you try to focus on something else on the screen and you can't stop it. So again, this is around like no time pressure, giving the user the ability to manage how long you want to take to process information.
Would you ever use the time to take action setting for that?
Time to
Take action?
I don't know about this time
It's
to
a
take.
unique API in Android.
Okay.
Specifically for that. Like, so you can actually say, I want my step bars to take extra time.
Okay.
And the thing is, if you look into that unique, because you can read it from your app, and then, so if you do need something that disappears for a security reason or something like that, you can hook into the time to take action.
Okay. So it's an API time to take action. You say. It's a setting on your phone, and if you set this on your phone, all the snack bar mechanism will take longer. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah,
Android's the only one that does it.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
It doesn't work for the devs, haven't heard of it.
That's the problem in the setting itself is that devs don't know. So we go
Yeah.
to the top platform,
Yeah. Who is speaking? Oh yeah, sorry.
You don't understand.
Can you say it again louder, please? What you will not have confirmed password, because like you have to again, like setting up a password asks you mental load, like, okay, what password I'm going to put, and typing it again. Imagine like you have a cognitive issue, you have Alzheimer, you have autism, and this takes you lots of effort to just say, oh, what did I type? And sometimes you can't actually like have the show hide password button, and you really have to rely on memory. And I also think like it's not useful steps, like for the user experience in general, what's the point of typing twice the password? Because if you can, you just copy paste.
Yeah.
And if you can't, you are really bored with this experience because, oh, I have to type it again. And if you mistype again, we are going out of accessibility for cognitive issue. If you talk about motor skills, motor issue, sometimes someone who has difficulty to type because, I don't know, they how do we say tremble? Tremble? Yeah, they tremble. Like, it's already an effort to type something without making a mistake. If you have to do it twice, like, it adds complexity and frustration if you're missing it. So again, it's about user experience. You don't want your user to feel bad and make mistakes with your app.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry? No, I'm listening. Two passkeys? Oh. So what do you mean by passkeys? Is something you receive in your email, or it's an application on the side? Oh, it's stored somewhere on your phone in a... yeah, it just auto-filled. I think it's okay. I will make sure in this situation, I think for cognitive issue is actually a good thing because people don't have to memorize. I will really check how it behaves for people with visual impairment. If you're using a screen reader, does it works well? I know I work with a developer is blind, and most of the time, like, the password things is horrible. Or when he receives something on his phone, to just type it again on this, it doesn't like it. So just making sure that it's accessible for everyone. But again, talking about memory issue, I think it's a nice thing. Yeah. 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 It auto-filled. Yeah.
Last one question. We have time.
Yeah, he asked it. We can talk. You can comment. We can.
Yeah, at the end.
Thank you all.
Thank you.